Hey guys, it's Catherine, and this is my first YouTube video. I really wanted to make a channel about makeup and beauty and skincare and just about those things, just because I'm very passionate about makeup. I love buying makeup, I love trying makeup, I love anything that has to do with makeup. I'm obsessed with the YouTube community that does makeup. I am just all about makeup. So I wanted to make my own channel. And this is just gonna be a video. My first video is going to be about mainly just my everyday natural beauty routine. I currently work at a law firm, and I get to work pretty early, so I wake up kind of early to get ready for work. I don't spend too much time on my makeup. I would say maybe about like 45 minutes on my makeup in the morning. That may be a lot of time, that may be a little bit of time, just kind of depending on, you know, your routine in the morning. But it's just me. I do have a boyfriend and a dog, so I make sure she's, you know, taken out and all of that before I get started on my beauty routine. But anyways, this is really long already, and this is my first video, so this is just going to be about makeup products that I'm loving, that I'm trying, new makeup products, older makeup products that I just use every day to do my makeup, whether it's going to work, whether it's hanging out with my boyfriend, going to dinner, going on a date night, you know, maybe I'll spruce up the eye a little bit on a date night. But for work, I just keep it pretty natural and pretty like not as intense as I would on a date night. So I hope you guys like this video, and I'm super nervous, but I'm super excited to kind of do this whole thing. But let's just get started into the video, and I'm excited to show you guys the products that I'm loving and using every day. And if you guys are using these products too, let me know if you like them, if you don't like them. Obviously you're not using them if you don't like them, but I like to know other people's opinion and kind of what works for them. I will say my skin is kind of combination. It's really mainly, I get a little bit of oil in my T-zone. That's kind of normal for most people. But I just kind of am oily around that area, but everywhere else is kind of normal. Sometimes can be a little dry. I like the dewy kind of glow from within type of look, so I have to be very conscious about what I put on my nose and how I combat that oil, and then wanting everything else to look refreshing and glowing and pretty. So again, let's get into this video, and comment down below what kind of videos you want to see next. Okay, let's get started. Okay. Okay, so my first step in doing my makeup is doing my skin, taking care of my skin, making sure that it is ready for makeup. So the first thing that I put on my face is this Origins Oil-Free Energy Boosting Gel Moisturizer. This is what it looks like. So I take just a tiny bit. I got a sample of this from Ulta along with a few other products from Origins, just because I kind of wanted to see what they were about. I had never used any products from Origins. I just kind of put this all over my face. I like how I'm not a huge fan of gel moisturizers. I feel like they don't give me all the nourishment that my skin is wanting. So I usually tend to go for heavier moisturizers, but I kind of like this, and I really like the way that it smells. So I put that on first. It also came with a face mask, and I do use that. I do like that. It's very pepperminty, and I like the smell of it. And then the second thing that I put on, I also do this morning and night, so which you can do with both. So that definitely helps when you do it morning and night. But I use this refreshing eye cream to brighten and depuff. That's what the name of it is. And it's just in this, I love how cute and little it is. That makes it so much cuter. But I really like this, and I think it is super beautiful. I really like the color of it. It's kind of, it's almost like skin, but it's like a pearly color. So this is what it looks like. I mean, you can't really like see, but you can see how glowy it is on my fingers. And I just like to kind of pat, oh no, I got a lot. Kind of pat into the skin. I do have a mirror below me, so if I'm not looking right at the camera, I apologize. But I'll be looking in the mirror as well, kind of into the camera too. But I just kind of pat this on and make sure that my under eye is soaked in this eye cream. And this also smells really good. Very like orangey, which I didn't know that I liked so much, but I guess I do. Okay, so getting into the makeup, my first thing that I apply is the e.l.f. Poreless Putty Primer. This is just the main one. I know that they came out with a few different versions of this. They have like a matte and a glowy version. I just like the plain version. I only take just kind of like a dime size, spread it all over my fingers. And I just kind of rub this in my T-zone. I try to rub and pat, especially around the pore area. Okay, so I'm patting this in, and it feels nice and not tacky, but almost. So your makeup is definitely gonna stick to the primer, and that is why I like this primer so much. I think it's really great, and it really does a great job of hiding my pores. Next, I go into the Bobbi Brown Vitamin Enriched Face Base, which I need to get more of because you can see it's kind of like empty when I open it up. I just don't want to throw this part away because I spent money on it and I don't want to waste the product. So this is the Vitamin Enriched Face Base from Bobbi Brown. A lot of people, a lot of YouTubers talk about this and how great it is. So I wanted to try it out, and I really do like it. I think it's great for wanting to have a nice moisturized base for your foundation and all the rest of your makeup that you put on. So I'm just gonna take my e.l.f. sponge. I really like this sponge, super cheap, and I've had it for forever. I clean my makeup, or I clean my sponges after every time I clean my makeup, or I clean my sponges after I'm done with my makeup. I really try to be really good about that. So what I do is I just dip it in and I kind of swirl it around to get the product on the sponge. And then I'm just gonna pat it onto my face. Okay, I'm gonna take a little bit more, and I'm just gonna put that on my forehead, and kind of get that all spread out. Okay, so the face is feeling nice and refreshed. Also, it smells so good. It smells so luxurious. I love it. And then the next thing that I do, I really, really like the Catrice Dewy Setting Spray, but I just ran out like yesterday. So I've got back into the Morphe Continuous Setting Mist. I really like this. It feels great on the skin, and I love the way that it sprays. I think everybody loves the way that it sprays, but I especially love how it sprays on the face. So I'm gonna do that real quick, and then we'll get into foundation and concealer. I kind of fan just a little bit. So while we're sitting here and I'm fanning myself, my name is Catherine and I live in Georgia, and I am 23. I turned 24 in September. I work at a law firm, like I said. I'm not gonna say the name because I feel like, I don't know, I probably shouldn't, I don't know. But I work at a law firm and I enjoy it. I enjoy the people that I work with, and yeah, that's always good. when you enjoy the people that you work with. And then I have a dog. Her name is Winnie, like Winnie the Pooh. I adopted her from the Humane Society almost 2 years ago. She is a lab, and she is the cutest thing. She's 6. And I just love her to death. And I think labs, golden retrievers, I mean, every dog is amazing. I'm totally a dog person. No hate against cat people, but I had cats when I was younger and they just weren't for me. So I got a dog, and I love her. She's the best. I'm gonna pat this in while we're talking as well. She's just so cute, and she is a big baby. She thinks she weighs 5 pounds, but she weighs 75 pounds. And yeah, I have her, and then I have a boyfriend, and his name is Drew, and we've been dating for about 3.5 years. July, it'll be 4 years. And I love him very much. And this year, I think we are moving in together, so I am very excited about that. Okay, so now let's get into, now that you know a little bit about me, let's get into the makeup. So I never used to do this, but now I do my concealer first, and then I do my foundation. I used to always do my foundation and then my concealer. But I saw Tati Westbrook, and I love her. I watch her all the time. Sometimes does her concealer before her foundation, and so I gave it a try, and I was like, wow, I love that. I'm gonna keep doing that. So that is how I do my makeup. You don't have to do your makeup that way. Everybody does their makeup differently, which is why it's so great. Okay, so I'm going to use, I usually like to use 2 concealers. I know I'm gonna use Tarte Shape Tape, and let's go in with e.l.f. I got the new e.l.f. Hydrating Camo Concealer, and this is in the shade Medium Peach. I really like this concealer. The first one was a little too matte for me. I didn't like it, just a little bit too drying, but this I like. It's not a bad hydrating concealer at all. I'm just gonna put some more. I'm gonna stick it right up there, go down here a little bit. My cheeks are a little red, but I am a little warm too, so that's probably why. Okay, I know that looks like a lot, but when you blend it out in the end, it's really not that bad. So I'm patting this in, and it feels nice and not tacky, but almost. So your makeup is definitely gonna stick to the primer, and that is why I like this primer so much. I think it's really great, and it really does a great job of hiding my pores. Next, I go into the Bobbi Brown Vitamin Enriched Face Base, which I need to get more of because you can see it's kind of like empty when I open it up. I just don't want to throw this part away because I spent money on it and I don't want to waste the product. So this is the Vitamin Enriched Face Base from Bobbi Brown. A lot of people, a lot of YouTubers talk about this and how great it is. So I wanted to try it out, and I really do like it. I think it's great for wanting to have a nice moisturized base for your foundation and all the rest of your makeup that you put on. So I'm just gonna take my e.l.f. sponge. I really like this sponge, super cheap, and I've had it for forever. I clean my makeup, or I clean my sponges after every time I clean my makeup, or I clean my sponges after I'm done with my makeup. I really try to be really good about that. So what I do is I just dip it in, and I kind of swirl it around to get the product on the sponge, and then I'm just gonna pat it onto my face. Okay, I'm gonna take a little bit more, and I'm just gonna put that on my forehead, and kind of get that all spread out. Okay, so the face is feeling nice and refreshed. Also, it smells so good. It smells so luxurious. I love it. And then the next thing that I do, I really, really like the Catrice Dewy setting spray, but I just ran out like yesterday. So I've got back into the Morphe Continuous Setting Mist. I really like this. It feels great on the skin, and I love the way that it sprays. I think everybody loves the way that it sprays, but I especially love how it sprays on the face. So I'm gonna do that real quick, and then we'll get into foundation and concealer. I kind of fan just a little bit. So while we're sitting here and I'm fanning myself, my name is Catherine and I live in Georgia, and I am 23. I turned 24 in September. I work at a law firm, like I said. I'm not gonna say the name because I feel like, I don't know, I probably shouldn't, I don't know. But I work at a law firm and I enjoy it. I enjoy the people that I work with, and yeah, that's always good when you enjoy the people that you work with. And then I have a dog. Her name is Winnie, like Winnie the Pooh. I adopted her from the Humane Society almost 2 years ago. She is a lab, and she is the cutest thing. She's 6. And I just love her to death. And I think labs, golden retrievers, I mean, every dog is amazing. I'm totally a dog person. No hate against cat people, but I had cats when I was younger and they just weren't for me. So I got a dog, and I love her. She's the best. I'm gonna pat this in while we're talking as well. She's just so cute, and she is a big baby. She thinks she weighs 5 pounds, but she weighs 75 pounds. And yeah, I have her, and then I have a boyfriend, and his name is Drew. And we've been dating for about 3.5 years. July, it'll be 4 years. And I love him very much. And this year, I think we are moving in together. So I am very excited about that. Okay, so now let's get into, now that you know a little bit about me, let's get into the makeup. So I never used to do this, but now I do my concealer first, and then I do my foundation. I used to always do my foundation and then my concealer. But I saw Tati Westbrook, and I love her. I watch her all the time. Sometimes does her concealer before her foundation, and so I gave it a try, and I was like, wow, I love that. I'm gonna keep doing that. So that is how I do my makeup. You don't have to do your makeup that way. Everybody does their makeup differently, which is why it's so great. Okay, so I'm going to use, I usually like to use 2 concealers. I know I'm gonna use Tarte Shape Tape, and let's go in with e.l.f. I got the new e.l.f. Hydrating Camo Concealer, and this is in the shade Medium Peach. I really like this concealer. The first one was a little too matte for me. I didn't like it, just a little bit too drying, but this I like. It's not a bad hydrating concealer at all. I'm just gonna put some more. I'm gonna stick it right up there, go down here a little bit. My cheeks are a little red, but I am a little warm too, so that's probably why. Okay, I know that looks like a lot, but when you blend it out in the end, it's really not that bad. I go into the Tarte Shape Tape, and I love this concealer. I used to not like it, and I started using it again, and I love it. And this is in the shade Light Medium Honey. And I am just gonna apply that right in this inner corner where I need more coverage. A little bit on the nose, some on the lips, or the cupid's bow, that's what that's called. The chin, and some on the forehead. So, and I'm gonna take my sponge, my e.l.f. sponge, and I'm just going to pat that into the skin. Honestly, I love the sound of sponges hitting your face. I don't know why it is so interesting to me, and I feel like to a lot of people, but I don't know, I just like the sound. It's kind of weird. It's kind of weird of me to say. I do like to go over my lid just because I don't do much to my eyes when I'm doing this type of look, being a little bit more natural. So I just take that over my eye. I used to have lash extensions and I loved them. I just didn't like going. And that sounds very lazy of me. I do have very fine lines underneath my eyes, so it's hard for me to find concealers that don't settle in that line, or in those lines. I don't know why I have such bad lines. I'm 23, but I do. So those I'm just constantly having to kind of buff over while I'm doing my makeup before I set my face. But I've also kind of just grown to having those suckers, so. That is what the face is looking like with concealer. It's okay if it's not everywhere. Shouldn't be everywhere, it's not concealer. But we are gonna put a foundation on top of this. I think I have dog hair in my mouth. Next, I'm gonna go in with this Maybelline Super Stay Multi-Use Foundation Stick. I use this as a cream contour. I love cream contour and I think it is amazing. I have always loved it. I just think it's a great idea. So I just do a little bit on the side of my face, right in that hollow. And then I do a tiny bit up around the edges of my head. And this is the, again, the Maybelline Super Stay Multi-Use Foundation Stick. And this is in the shade Toffee Caramel. Again, saw this on Tati's channel. She said she loved it. I watched the video and it looked beautiful on her. So I wanted to try it and see if it would look as beautiful on me. So I just blend this out with the other side of my sponge. And I just make sure to pat it in, but also kind of moving it around at the same time, if that makes sense. You really want to make sure that you blend it and there are no lines, because that can look streaky and that's not good. We don't want to be looking streaky. You can also blend this out with a brush. That may save some time or not. But I like doing it with the sponge. Either one, I think. Whatever your preference is, for sure. Okay, and then I'm gonna take the LA Girl Pro Conceal High Definition Concealer in the shade Toast, and I am going to use this to contour as well. I don't use a lot of this just because it is so much darker. But I really like this. And what I do is I mix it with my foundation. So I kind of let it sit on there for just a second, not too long though, because you don't want it to dry. And then I'm gonna take my Morphe foundation brush, which is the M439 brush, and I'm going to put my favorite and a new foundation onto this brush. And that is the Dream Radiant Liquid Hydrating Foundation from Maybelline. This is what it looks like. And I am obsessed with this. I love everything about this foundation. What I do is I take one and a little bitty pump on top of my brush, and I just use this as my foundation. I kind of go over the spots of where I put that where I put that contour, and just kind of pat over it so it can blend into the skin. And I mean, it just does it so beautifully. This foundation wears beautifully, it looks beautiful. It just is a great foundation, and I definitely recommend it, especially if you have skin like me. I do take my foundation down my neck just because it can match, it cannot match sometimes, you just never know. And then, so I'm also patting, I'm not just smearing, I'm kind of patting, because you do want it to sink into your skin. You don't want it just to sit on top of the skin. So I'm pushing this in. And also taking it down the neck. I'm gonna take just a little bit more to put on my cheeks since they're being so rosy today. I put the tiniest amount and just dot that right on my cheeks. Next, I'm gonna take just a little bit more of that Tarte Shape Tape and put it right under my eye to brighten things up a bit. And just pat this out. Okay, next I'm gonna go into powder, and the powder that I live for is the Coty Airspun powder. This is in the shade Translucent Extra Coverage. Oh, and also, I'm so sorry, I didn't even say what foundation what color my foundation was. It is 60 Sandy Beige, right there at the bottom. But back to the Coty Airspun. I love this powder. I think that it's great. I don't necessarily have to have high-end powders. I think that drugstore powders are amazing. I think that Sephora powders are amazing. High-end powders are amazing. Powders are not hard for me. I do like powders a lot. So, that said, Coty Airspun and then the CoverGirl Advanced Radiance in the lightest shade. I mean, that is heaven right there. So I definitely recommend those two for powders, for sure, especially if you have skin like me. I know people don't really like the smell of Coty Airspun, but it doesn't really bother me. I'm going to take my bullet brush, the Morphe M536. This is what it looks like. And I'm just going to put that on, take the powder, and put that underneath my eye to kind of set it before I go in with my sponge. So again, I'm gonna pat out those creases one more time because I did a lot of talking. And I just set this under this eye with this powder, with this bullet brush, and it is perfect. It's the perfect size. And everything just looks so smooth, and I love that. It doesn't take away the brightness of the concealer either, so I really like that as well. Okay. I try to set as quickly as possible so there are no creases, even though I know I will have creases because my under eye lines are so bad. I also just kind of swirl this around the nose, kind of get down onto the cheek area, even into the eyelid area, just kind of this whole area I like to set just with this brush because it is so good. And I am very glad that I bought this brush. I'm not an only Morphe brush user, but a lot of my brushes are Morphe. Some were given to me as gifts, some I bought in packs. So it just kind of, it is how it is. I do like to take this Morphe sponge though. I love it for baking the face because of the sharp lines that it does have or that it can create. So I just take this, I dip this into my Coty Airspun. I coat the top of it and I just go right underneath the eye and just press it in. And that gives the illusion of just such a smooth base. Oh, I love it. I'm gonna do the same thing over here. And again, just kind of pushing that in, going on top of the eyes. And then I kind of will do the same thing to the rest of my face and just set with Cody and my sponge. That way the whole face is kind of set. I do like to set my face, even though it can be a little dry sometimes. If I don't set my face, it will be a hot mess. So I kind of just set everywhere. That way there is no movement or anything while I go throughout my day. Get there around my nose. Okay, so now that I've used that sponge, or that side of the sponge, I'm gonna go in and use this side of the sponge to get right underneath that eye so I can bake, and right under this jawline, this contour that I created that has kind of gone away since I put powder on my face, and just make that a little bit more angled and a little bit more available to see. Okay. And again, I'm using the Cody Air Spun to do this as well. So I just press that right in there and I bake that. I don't ever keep the bake on for too long, just because I don't want it to get too dry. But I do want it to brighten things up, and I think that the Cody Air Spun does a great job of that. So then I'm just patting this into my forehead and patting the extra off into the rest of my face. My eyes do water quite a bit, which is not fun at all, but they water on the sides a little bit, so if it starts to come off, that's why. I need to go to the eye doctor and get that looked at. And I also will just take it and kind of go along with my cheekbone and just kind of carve it out just a little bit. Not too much. We'll do this a little bit more sharper at the end with our contour powders. I mean, you can already see my eye watering. This, I just kind of like to use it to bake the face. So whenever that happens with my eye, I just try to take some more powder on this side and just kind of go over it. See if I can fix it. Sometimes I don't even feel it and I look up and I'm like, oh my gosh, where is my makeup gone? Okay, so we're done with powder for right now, with that powder, I'm sorry. We're gonna move on to this is new, and I have been loving this lately. I think it's so great. I think it might be a dupe for the Jaclyn Hill loose powders, the luminous loose powders. I'm not sure. I haven't used it as a highlighter either, so I'm not really sure, but this is the e.l.f. Halo Glow Setting Powder, and this is in the shade light. I think they have a light and a tan, or a light and a dark, I'm not really sure. But I love this powder. It is a luminous powder, but it is not glittery at all. It does have the guard, so you can turn it without the powder getting everywhere, which I really do like. So I'm gonna turn that real quick, and I'm just gonna empty just a little bit into the cap. You don't need much. And I just kind of pat it into the cap. So really, I mean, that much is perfect. I wouldn't do much more than that. You can't get carried away with products like this, so, you know, but you do you. I'm not gonna tell you how to do your makeup. But I do want to show you how I do mine. Okay, so I'm just gonna take that powder that we just put in on a Real Techniques fluffy brush. This is what it looks like. I need to wash my brushes really bad, but it's just a large fluffy brush. You can use any brush, large fluffy brush that you want to use. I just am going to set this in here on the top of it, kind of knock off the extra. And then I'm just gonna wipe off what's on my face and put this on at the same time. So I'm just gonna do this, and I'm gonna do this all over my face to kind of give just a little bit of luminosity. I mean, you can even see it already. Back to the skin after I have put that powder on there. And I have a feeling my eye is watering. Great. Also, I will take some of that loose powder by the Coty Airspun and just kind of set the neck a little bit, because we did put some foundation on there, just to make sure everything is nice and matching. I'm gonna dip back into my e.l.f. powder and go on this side of my face. And I just like to do swirls. I think that's what gives it the best end result to this powder. Dipping back in there, I'm gonna go on the forehead, right in the middle of the face, make sure everything looks great. And you can just see how healthy it makes your skin look. And it's really pretty. It's really pretty in the sun. It's not sparkly by any means, but it is very, very luminous. And I love that. This may not be up your alley, and that's fine. You don't have to buy it. But I think it is great for anyone that wants to achieve a look similar to mine. Okay, we are done with powders. Setting powders, that is. Setting powders. Okay, we're gonna go into bronzer. I love foundations. I have a lot of foundations. I love foundations, but I also love bronzers. I have way too many bronzers for one person, and I think that's a little crazy. So I use 3 bronzers. Actually, I use 2 bronzers and a contour powder. I love bronzer, and I think bronzing up the face and bronzing up the skin is so much fun, and you can definitely overdo it, but I think, you know, if you want to have a little sun-kissed kind of look, you can really get that by doing bronzer. So I like to use here we go. This is the NYX Matte Bronzer, and this is in the shade Deep Tan. This is what it looks like. You can get it really anywhere. And this is, it may look crazy dark, or orange, but I promise you it's good. They do have other, colors in this, but I really like this, and I like it for a good way to warm up the face, and I like the color. So I'm gonna use my Sonia Kashuk bronzing brush. This is what it looks like. You can see me. I will dip in here just a few times, knock off the excess, and I will just bronze up the face very lightly, kind of in the contours of my cheeks. I take it on the cheeks a little bit. A lot of people maybe don't do that, but I really like to do that. I kind of put it on the chin, a little bit on the nose. And then I will do the same thing on the other side. Okay, so that is the first bronzer that I put on. Next, I will go in. I usually have just the Physicians Formula Butter Bronzer, just the single compact, but I actually just ran out yesterday. So I will be using the Physicians Formula Butter Collection X Casey Holmes. Casey Holmes is probably one of my favorite YouTubers, if not my very top favorite, so I had to get this. I love this. I'm gonna go in and use the Deep Bronzer from this. I just love everything in here. I love her. I think she's so cute, and I love Physicians Formula, so I had to buy it. But I'm just gonna dip in there just a few times just to get my brush coated. I am using a Morphe brush. I don't know what the name of it is because I have rubbed off everything. I'm pretty sure it may be like a packing brush, but I use it as a bronzer brush. And I just am going to put this on the cheeks and around the perimeter of the face. Oh my gosh, I love the way this smells. I like this brush because it kind of really blends things out and makes things not have any lines. I also take this down my neck just to make sure everything matches. Okay, and then lastly, I will go into my Hoola Benefit. It is kind of in pieces right now, so I'm not gonna flip it over, but I really like to use this for contour, and I also use this to throw in my eye as eyeshadow when I am just doing a quick look. So I'm going to take my Morphe Y9. This is a contour brush. I love this contour brush. It is great. And I'm just going to dip into the Hoola Benefit. This is the main one, or the original one. I haven't used the other ones before. And I really just use this to kind of contour the cheeks, my nose, and just the real tops of my head. And I like this because it really does blend everything in as well. Okay, it may look a little harsh right now, but at the end, everything I promise will look beautiful. That's usually what it looks like. It's a work in progress until you get to the end. Okay, so next I'm going to use blush. I love blush, and I love the blush in the Physicians Formula collection with Casey Holmes, but I wanted to do something a little bit peachier. I've been liking something peachier. So this is the Makeup Obsession Isn't It Peachy blush palette. It's got 4 blushes in here, and I love this. I think it's beautiful, and it's very nice quality. I believe I got it from Target. I'm using the shades Daydream and Hint. So I'm going in with these 2 shades, kind of going back and forth, knocking off the excess, smile a little bit, and get right up there on the cheek. I go a little bit on the nose, a little bit on the chin, a little bit on the forehead. Make sure that is nice and blended. I'm also using my Morphe blush brush. This just came in a pack with a bunch of other brushes, and it is just the blush brush. So that is the brush that I'm using for this. I love blush. I think it definitely adds some color to the face that is needed. And then, oh, my back hurts. I'm gonna go in with the shade Glimmer very lightly because it is pigmented. I'm just gonna go in just a little bit, knock off the excess, and just hit right at the very front of my cheeks to give that kind of luminous glow. a little bit on the forehead, nose, chin. And it gives that kind of glowy, and I just love that. Like, look at that. I think that's beautiful. It will get taken down just a little bit when we go in with our, it will be taken down just a little bit when we go in with our kind of just powder over the face at the end of the video, or the end of the process. But next I would like to go back into my powder, and this is when I was saying earlier about how we would go back into, or about how I go back into my face and kind of take this sharp edge like I was doing earlier with the powder. Take this sharp edge and just going to cut that bronzer and just make it look snatched. Like, I like to kind of outline with the powder, and it is insane, the result. So I'm just gonna get some powder on the sponge. I do like to use dry sponges with powders. I don't like to use the same sponge as my liquids. So I go from the outer corner of my mouth and I take it up to my ear. And bring it down. And I'll just do that just a few times after getting some more powder on my sponge. Just to build that up a little bit. Sometimes I'll pat it out, sometimes I just kind of drag it. But I really just want to get that sharp line, which this sponge is amazing for, just to carve it out. Carve those cheekbones out, sister. Okay, and then I'm gonna do it to the other side. Okay, so we are done with the powder at that point. Now we are going to okay, so now we're done with powder. We're gonna go into, okay, so now we're done with setting powder. Now I wanna go into this Park Ave Princess palette. And this is from Tarte. I got this a long time ago, right when it first came out. She has been used and abused. As you can see. I love this palette. I think it's great. I don't like Tarte bronzers, but something about this palette made me fall in love with Tarte bronzers. I don't have any Tarte bronzer singles, and you know how much I love bronzers because I said earlier that I really love bronzers. So this is a huge compliment because I really, really, really like good bronzers, and this is a good bronzing palette for sure. I will take my bullet brush again that looks like this and go into the shade Enhance, which is this more yellow brightening powder. I'm just gonna dip in there just a few times, knock off the excess, and go right under the eye just to add a little bit more brightness, a little bit more coverage, a little bit more smoothness to right under the eye. You want to blend it down, kind of make this blend it out a little bit more. You can do that as well. Okay, so now that we're done with that, I would like to go back into, or I do go back into, the Hoola Benefit bronzer and just use a small eyeshadow brush, fluffy brush, and I just kind of dip in there, knock off the excess, and I take my crease brush and I put it right in my crease of my eye, and I just do windshield wiper motions back and forth. And this just kind of gives a little bit of depth to my eye, but it takes literally not long. And then I'll just do the same thing with the other eye. Other eye is kind of harder just because it is watering so much, so just gotta be cognizant of that. Again, just putting this right into the crease and doing circular or windshield wiper motions. I think either or makes out a really good product, because you want it to be blended, but you don't want it to be too blended either. Okay, so now that we're done with just kind of the eyes, I have just done that kind of simple looking eyeshadow. We are gonna go into eyebrows. I don't necessarily love eyebrows. They aren't my favorite thing to do, but I do them because I don't want to look like a crazy person that has done the rest of my makeup and not my eyebrows. But I have really enjoyed using this eyebrow product. I'd never tried it before. This is my first time using it, and I really like it. It's the Maybelline Brow Ultra Slim Defining Pencil. This is what it looks like. And this is in the shade Blonde. It does come with a spoolie on one end and then your product on the other. So far, I've had a lot of product. I just take my spoolie and kind of run it through my brows. And just kind of go around the outline of my brows and fill in a little bit, and that's really all I do. I just kind of, you know, draw little brow strokes and just kind of create, you know, a brow. I can never get my brows to look the same, but that's okay. And what I do is I kind of hold it like this, and I just flick. I flick right into the brow, those just kind of motions, and that really allows me to make nice strokes of just hair that look like hair, but it's actually the crayon. I kind of will outline the bottom and then a little bit of the top. Kind of go up and fill in those spaces in the front. Make it even. And then just go through with my spoolie and brush it out. And just kind of make it even. You know, I want it to be a little bit more sparse in the front. But still enough to where it looked like I filled it in a little bit. Okay, let's go into the other eyebrow. I'm just gonna do that same thing, kind of outline the bottom, outline the top, and then fill in the rest. Okay, so those are the brows finished. I really just kind of outline the top and outline the bottom and then just fill in the rest. Kind of how I feel. So I can never get, this one has more hair, this side has more hair on the tail as this one, so it's harder to match it up and make it look natural, if that makes sense. Okay, so next, I kind of go in a strange order. I like to do highlight and then mascara and then setting spray, and then we'll do a lip and we'll be done. Okay, so I like this highlighter. This is the Makeup Revolution 4 Quad Highlighter. It's got kind of 2 more reddish shades up here and then a golden shade and a darker brown shade. I believe they have 2 colors of this for 2 different skin tones. Obviously need more than that, but this is a great highlighter palette, and I think not enough people talk about it, and I love it, and it's just great. It's got a mirror, it's super lightweight. I take this Mally Beauty double-ended brush. This is what it looks like. I use this side for the more 2 pinky and reddish colors, and then this side for the lighter and the darker brown. And what I do with the 2 reddish colors, I'll just dip in back and forth just a tiny bit, knock off the excess, and I smile, and right in those little pockets right there, I put those colors to make 1 look a little more rosy, and 2 to make it look a little more glowy. So I'll just take that right there and put that on my cheeks. So when I smile, whoosh, it's beautiful. And it's just so glowy. A lot of people don't like to do this to their cheeks because they may have texture, acne, etc. I don't necessarily have crazy acne or texture. I do have a good amount of texture, but when I wipe away everything at the end, it'll look there, but barely there. And then I'll go in with the 2 bottom shades on the other end, just kind of dipping back and forth with those. And I'll go right here on my cheekbones. I don't like to necessarily have blinding on my cheekbones, but I want there to be a little bit of something, a little bit of glow. And that's what I do for highlight. And then we're going to do mascara. My favorite mascara is the huge Extreme Lash Mascara by Stila. I love this mascara and I think it's great. I don't have a eyelash curler. I threw it away when I got eyelash extensions because I didn't think I would need it ever again. And now I do, and I'm sad, and I just haven't had time to go buy a new one. So I currently don't have one, but I would normally curl my lashes. This one is a little bit older. I need to get a new one that's a little bit more fresh. But for right now, apparently I need a lot of makeup. I'm just gonna use this mascara and just go to town. I usually like to do 2 coats with this mascara. If I'm feeling spunky, sometimes I'll do a brown eyeliner with eyeshadow. But with my eye been watering as much as it has been lately, I just can't do that. Oh, I got some. Look at that. Why does my eye do that? And it's not the makeup, because my eye will water like this even when I'm not wearing any makeup. And I've changed my powders, my concealers, my eyeliners. I'll dip back in one more time and just do a second coat. Okay, so now that we have the mascara on and we are almost fully done, I am going to take the big powder brush and just wipe away this bake. I go over my cheeks a little bit, over my nose a little bit. I don't want to take that full highlight away, but I don't want it to be too beaming at the same time either. So I make sure that that is nice and blended. I'll go up a little bit even into my forehead. Make sure all of that is blended. Into the ear. I'll go up here. I really just push everything back into the hairline, and that makes it look much more natural. Much more natural. Okay, so next, I guess we will do lips and setting spray, and then we will be done. So I really like matte lips, but I don't know, the winter has me like really liking lips with lipstick. So, and lip gloss. So I'm gonna do just a little bit of this liner. This is the Sephora liner in the shade Knock on Wood. It looks almost orangey on camera, and even too really in person, but it's really not. And I am just gonna outline the lips. I don't like to overdraw or underdraw. I just draw on my lips. So now that that is done, I'll kind of rub my lips together. And then I'm gonna go into the Fenty Beauty Gloss Bomb in the shade Fenty Glow. I love this lipstick. If I wore lipstick every day for the rest of my life, I would want it to be this. It is so good. It smells amazing. Oh, it smells so good. And I don't know what it smells like. And then I will clean that up just a teeny bit. Okay. Now we are going to spray the face at the end. And we'll let that kind of sit on our face. It kind of takes away the powderiness of all the powder that we did put on our face, and kind of just allows everything to sink in a little bit and just kind of mesh. So we'll fan just a little bit. And this video was so long, I did not expect it to be this long. So this is it. This is my everyday natural kind of makeup glam, my own type of glam. I really enjoyed filming this for you guys. I am really excited to kind of see where this YouTube journey takes me, and to see what kind of content I can produce and what you guys want to see. So if you guys like this, please subscribe to my channel and like my video, give it a big thumbs up if you liked it. Let me know what you guys want to see in the next video. And again, I hope you enjoyed watching. If you use some of the products, like some of the products, dislike some of the products, let me know in the comments below. And yeah, I'm super excited, and I'm already excited to shoot my next video. Leave some ideas of what you think the next one should be about, because I have no idea. But I had a blast, and I hope you guys enjoyed watching me and my natural beauty routine. Bye guys.